Okay.
Okay, we're recording.
Okay, so we will call the meeting to order at 9:31. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes from October 9th, 2020? They were sent quite a while ago, I think, but I'm sure you all read them over, right? Nobody wants to approve the minutes?
I'll approve the minutes.
Nina, Carrie.
Nina,
I don't remember if I was there.
Karen from Fremont.
Nina, and then Karen from Fremont. Thank you, Nina and Karen. Additions to the, so I did add a couple of things to the agenda, but I just added them within the new business. So I guess we can skip over that. And I have nothing to report. Anybody, Vice Chair? Is she here?
I don't think Karen Key is here quite yet.
Okay.
So,
Okay, well, maybe we'll have to come back to her if she has anything to say. And our secretary?
Nothing to report.
Okay. Okay, we'll move right into the CCS staff reports now.
excellent. So just a couple updates from CCS. The first one, just a reminder, we are upgrading the training database next Friday the 15th. It's going to be upgraded to version 6.7. The upgrade will go as it always has. It'll begin early before libraries open. Production will not be affected at all, so there's going to be no interruptions to service whatsoever. The only thing you might want to be aware of is if you are training new staff on the training database might be unavailable for a portion of the day. At that time, a fresh copy of the production database will also be synced to training. So any data that's currently in the training database will be overwritten. Our production database, it's still going to be on 6.5 for a little bit until we can test out and get some documentation and training together for the 6.7 version. So our upgrade for production to 6.7 is still to be determined at this time. So just keep your eyes open for new documentation coming out and some short webinars that's related to version 6.6 and 6.7. So we'll go those out, and then after those are out, we will schedule the production upgrade. So it's pretty cool. One of the highlights of the new versions is that staff can run print notices in Leap now, so you don't need to run print notices in the training date or in the staff client, which will be, yeah, very exciting. The other thing I wanted to comment on is just about the library card pre-expiration notices. So this is that optional notice that's sent to patrons 31 days before their library cards expire. It's only sent via email, so it's not available in text or print. Or phone. But if your library right now, if you've kind of adjusted your, if you use this notice, again, it's optional, and you've adjusted your card registration practices to offer like a virtual option, and you want to include a link on that email, open a ticket with CCS, and we can kind of do a little customization on that notice, add in a link or a special language or whatever you may need. So that is that's what I have. Deborah, did you have some other topics?
I do. I just have a few small things for the group. First is the phone notice schedule. So if you might have seen my email earlier this week, we had a lot of phone notices in the queue, 3 times more than we usually have earlier this week. So we temporarily extended our phone notice hours from 9:30 to 7:30. So I just wanted to update the group. We're back down to normal phone notice levels. So we've adjusted the phone notice hours back to 10 to 6. So we got through that really big rush of notices. Polaris sent them all out, so now we're back to normal. So you guys must have been very busy this week trapping items for patrons. So good work. You made it through your first week of 2021. My next update is the website redesign. So as many of you know, CCS is currently working, we put out an RFP for our website redesign. So our goal is to combine the learning portal, the training website, and the main CCS website into one, so that you guys don't have to go 3 different places to access all of our resources. So we are off to a good start with the project. We received a number of bids and we have selected 2 finalists. So we'll have our 2 finalists give presentations next week to CCS staff. Then we'll select a vendor and then we'll get started on the project. So not quite sure how long the project will take, probably a few months. So hopefully by summertime, we'll see a newly redesigned CCS website for all of you. So we're really excited about that. And I hope all of you are too. I'm sure all of you are too. And then the last update I wanted to give, you might have seen this in CCS News in December, but CCS has signed on to be a Vega Discover development partner. So what does this mean? Vega Discover is a new product that is being developed by Innovative. It is a discovery interface, so essentially a new catalog interface. So it's not available or developed yet for Polaris or consortia customers. So CCS has volunteered to be a development partner, which means we get to work with Innovative as they're developing this product for Polaris and consortia libraries and share our feedback, share our suggestions for development, so that we have a say in how, you know, this product gets built by Innovative. So the end goal for this would hopefully be that Vega Discover is a great product that is better than PowerPack, and that we would adopt that for our members. However, we'll need to see how the product is developed to see if it is a worthy replacement for PowerPack before we would decide on that. So we've got our foot in the door so that we have a say in how this product is built, and TBD on how it goes. We'll be sharing more information with libraries throughout the year on how you can be involved in sharing your feedback with us and with Innovative as well. So we won't get started working with them really until March. Right now, they're working with standalone libraries for Sierra integration. So they'll begin working with Polaris customers. In our cohort is New York Public Library. So we're really excited that we get to work with them as well. So we won't start working with them again until about March. So look for more information later in the spring on how that project is going.
Great. Thank you, Deborah.
You're welcome.
And Mieko. So we don't have any old business, and right into new business. Mieko has a little chat about something.
Screen here. So I'm sorry, I was muted there. I'm just going to share my screen and go through a quick presentation. Here we go. On the missing parts check-in mode. There we go. So like I said, I just kind of want to review what missing part check-in mode is and how to use it in LEAP. This is a completely optional check-in mode that is now available in LEAP. So previously it was only available in the staff client, and with our last update, it's been added to LEAP. So you've probably seen a little addition here. When you've opened up the check-in work form, you've probably seen missing part as one of the new tabs. So this is meant to be used with items that are missing a part, like an audiobook that's missing a disc or a kit that's missing one of its pieces. I just want to emphasize this functionality is completely optional for libraries to use. If your library already has a well-established practice or workflow for managing items with missing pieces, like 100% stick to that workflow. This is, I just kind of want to review this for libraries who may be interested in adapting this. So what happens when you scan an item into that check-in, that missing part check-in mode? There's a handful of things that occur. So first, the item's circulation status changes to claim missing parts. A block is also added to the item record. A claim is added to the patron's record. and a missing part notice is automatically generated for the patron. This notice by default is turned off for libraries. So if you're asking yourself like, does my library send this notice? The chances are like the answer is no. So if you do want to use this mode and you want to take advantage of this notice, you will have to work with CCS to get it activated. And because of how this notice is issued, you should only use the missing part check-in for items that were checked out from your library. I'll say that again. You can only use missing part check-in for items that were checked out from your library. Because we are in a consortium environment, users can return items to any other CCS libraries. So this does mean that you're going to want to check to see where the item was checked out from before scanning it into that missing part check-in. You can easily do this from the item record. So to find out where the item was checked out from, you'll just scan the item in that quick search bar to open the item record, and then click into the circulation tab, and this will show you what you need to know. If the item is still checked out to the patron's record, like this one is, we can see the circulation status is checked out. The checkout location will show under this current borrower area under the loaning branch segment. If the item has already been checked in, so like say you run across this item and it's already on the shelf, the circulation status, so the circulation status in this case is available. You'll just, again, go into the circulation tab, and this time you can locate where it was checked out from last under this last use section. So if the loaning branch was your library, then you can use the missing part check-in mode. You'll open the check-in work form.
But you can do that after the fact, Miracle? After it's already available?
You can, yes.
Oh, okay.
It will reference the last patron.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So when you are ready to check the item in using missing part, just click on that missing part tab, scan the item into the barcode area. And this is what will appear. You'll see a dialog box that says manage missing parts. You will want to make sure that the block and notify option is selected. This is the default. The other option, you want to avoid using make item unavailable because that unavailable status is reserved for e-content, at least in how our consortium is set up. And also, the unavailable status doesn't show up in like any reports, so the item is then in danger of like falling through the cracks. So you'll always want to make sure that the missing part block and notify option is selected. You can also add in an optional note about what's missing. So you can say like, okay, the audiobook is missing disc number 5, the Blu-ray is missing disc number 2. And this note is going to be added to the item record, and it will appear in the email and the print notice. It does not appear on the phone notice or the text notice though, but it will appear on the email and the print notice. The missing part check-in does not add a note or block to the patron record, only the item record. So if it's part of your local practice to block the patron or add a note to the patron, you would also want to do so at that time. So then once the item is scanned into missing part, what happens on the patron's end, the item moves from the patron's list of checkouts to their list of claims. Or if the item was already checked off of the patron's record, it's going to be added to their list of claims. This claim missing part does count towards the patron's claims cap. So patrons have a cap, can have up to 5 current claims. It will count towards that cap. The claimed item does not appear in the patron's online PowerPack account, so only staff can view the claims. So that's how you use missing part check-in with an item that was checked out from your library. If the item was checked out from a different library, you'll still want to contact the patron manually, and optionally, add a blocker note to the patron's account as per local procedure. That claimed item will remain on the patron's account until it's resolved. And there's two ways to do that. So if the missing part is recovered or you don't want to charge the patron, you can check the item in like a regular item, so using bulk mode or normal mode. And that will remove the claim from the patron's record and removes the block from the item's record. The item's status will become available again. And then staff will also just need to remember to delete any notes that they've added to the patron record and the item record. The other way to resolve is to charge the patron for the missing part. Another feature with this missing part check-in is that you can charge the patron through their claims lost tab. So in the patron's record, under the claims lost tab, if you select an item that is a claim missing part item, you will then be able to use this new check-in charge missing parts button. And what that allows you to do is specify an amount for just the missing part. So you can charge a patron just for a single disc instead of having to charge a patron for the entire audiobook, let's say. So when you click that button, this dialog will pop up. You can specify how much you're going to charge a patron. You can add a note in, and that's for staff use only. And additionally, there's a little button here that says send a bill. So you can generate a bill notice for this missing part that will be issued to the patron. So that's the other option. Check the item in, remove it from the patron's record, or charge the patron for the claim missing part. Once you do one of those two actions, the claim missing part will be resolved. And then, of course, once again, don't forget to remove items or the item notes and the patron blocker notes. In like that interim, after it's been claimed missing part, but before it's been resolved, there are a couple reports available through both web reports and the staff client that will help you identify items that have claimed missing parts, and they're listed here. So there is full documentation on this check-in mode that's been posted to the learning portal under the public services procedures. They will also be linked in today's CCS e-news. So take a look at them. Like I said, if your library is interested in using this check-in mode, open a ticket with CCS so we can answer any questions, and we can also get that notice set up for you.
Miko, do you have a visual of the notices so we could see what those look like to the patrons?
Yeah, you know, I did post some in the handout. I'm just going to pull that up.
Oh,
real
I'm
quick so
sorry.
I can
Maybe I
show you.
missed it. I apologize.
Oh no, it wasn't in the presentation. I think it's just in the handout. Yeah, okay. Let me just enlarge this and share my screen again. Okay, so sample email notice, what it's going to say, let me see if I can zoom in just a little bit more. There we go. So it's going to say an item was returned missing a part. Please return the part to the library as soon as possible. We are able to customize this language. So if you want to say, like, please return within 2 weeks or something like that, you can. So the email will have all of the item information in there, including the due date and the checkout date. And it will include that missing note that you added when you check the item in. The text notice is very simple. It doesn't include any item information in it. Or I'm sorry, it will include the title of the item, but it doesn't include like that note specifying like what was missing or like the due dates or anything like that. The print notice looks just like the email notice. And then at the end, when I mentioned after you were resolving the notice or resolving the missing part, you could optionally issue a bill notice to the patron. This is what that bill notice looks like. So it will have the item information, and then it will have whatever amount you're charging for that missing part. So those are included in the handout. While I'm sharing my screen, let me just show you where you can locate that documentation. So in the learning portal, under Polaris Procedures and Public Services, the documentation is just listed under the basics section with the other check-in documents. So it's check-in missing part mode. And then you'll also see links to the videos under the 2-minute tutorial side.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mieko. Is that it?
That is all that I have for
Okay.
this part. So if anyone has questions, happy to answer them now, or like I said, open the ticket.
Okay, so we will move on to item B, which Kim from Wilmette will talk about.
Hi, everyone. I'm pretty comfortable with the history of what we've been talking about over the years, but as we're still, one library is open and some are closed. I wondered how many libraries are still doing like same day pickup or reservation only. We are taking 163 appointments a day because we have reservations, but I just wondered how other libraries are managing that workflow and how many people maybe are on staff at that given time. If it's easier to pop it into the chat, then I can go through it and look through it, or if there's an open discussion someone would like to talk about, that would be great too.
At Prospect Heights, we do have appointments, but we have plenty of same day appointments. You know, we're a small library, so there are, maybe Nancy should pop in here because Nancy's, you know, in the thick of it there, and she.
Yeah, you know,
We
we only have very few pickups, like maybe 3 that happen on future dates, like tomorrow or the next day.
Yeah.
It's 99%. It's all like, sometimes I'm on the road, I'm gonna be pulling up into your parking lot in 5 minutes. And those ones, we try to counsel them into, you know, next time, give us more time, because that's when mistakes start being made, because we get interruptions with the phone, you know, just normal interruptions. So we try to tell our patrons, give us a little bit of warning, you know, some time to prepare your books. But most of our pickups are same day for sure.
Okay. Do you know? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, because we're under construction, as well as COVID, our youth services, our head of youth services said, you know, why don't we make a video to show patrons what it takes for us to, from start to finish. So they see what, you know, it's not magic. It doesn't just, so we did. And I mean, I don't know how well received it's been or not, but you should check it out. It's on our Facebook page. Instagram.
Thank you. No, I think we're just getting so many complaints regarding, they see when they walk, so we do parking lot pickup. So they see that we're not busy because there's no cars lined up. But because we're only allowed 7 people in the building and we're doing check-in and pick list and everything, the anger has been significant. So,
Really?
Oh, yes.
I have to say, our patrons are so grateful that we're providing a service. Honestly, you know, with our, when we do the curbside pickups, there's a little form that our staff fills out with all the information for curbside. And then at the bottom of it, I wrote, you know, how did it go for you today? Is there anything else we can do? Blah, blah, blah. Honestly, I can't tell you, 99.9% of those that come back are complimenting us, which it makes me so happy. They're just grateful. I'm so sorry to hear that the Wilmette patrons are being rude over there.
I guess we're just filling up so quickly, and we're a very and everyone is, but very active, and we're just trying to do so much. But I really like that form. Like, I mean, we're full for, I think, Palatine. We absolutely loved your email that you sent explaining what your library was doing behind the scenes to explain that we're 2 to 3 days booked out, you know, so no, thank you. Does anyone else have any? I love the form. That's great.
I
I have something. Zion has something. We're doing curbside only. We're doing it Tuesday through Thursday and Saturdays. And then we also have, we're not really like putting it out there that we're doing same day pickup, but like our normal everyday people know that we do a 2-hour window. We stop doing same day at 2 o'clock because that's 2 hours before we close. Like our last one for same day is 2 o'clock. We're averaging anywhere from 175 to 100, almost 200 on our pick list every morning now. And we're able to, we start at 10. So by probably 10:30, I have all of our bags ready to go because we're doing curbside only. So, and our staff is really good. We only have one person on usually YS and one on AS side for doing phone calls and picking some of the stuff for us too. But we're doing a really good curbside. We're averaging about 50 people. And on Saturdays, it's usually closer to 75 a day for our curbside.
Yeah, and we do curbside at Fremont. We don't do appointments. Ours is, we have 6 spots that people, there is no, you know, they just pull up whenever. And, you know, of course, we have some times that there's rushes. You know, it seems to ebb and flow. And, you know, they call the number on the phone and it rings at like 6 different phones. So anybody that's, you know, I usually have 2 people staffing up front, and then I have a couple people in the back that can answer the phones. And it was starting to get like overwhelming. So we actually did the phone so that it will do a delayed ring out at our adult services and youth services desk. Like if we're out delivering and we can't get to the phone, they will pick up the phone. Of course, we too also have forms where they write the person's name down. And then if we're not there to do the form, the, you know, youth or adult will bring that form up to us. And once a staff member is ready, you know, we just pull it off our hold shelves, check it out to them, bag it up, and then deliver it. And it seems to be working pretty well. I know we're probably not as busy quite as like some of the North Shore libraries I know are very busy. But, you know, we do a pretty good daily checkout, you know, and most of the time, there's been very few times that like all 6 of our spots have been full where we've had to have people wait. And if they did have to wait to pull into a spot, it's pretty quick turnaround.
No, I like that it rings to multiple phones. Thank you.
I'm just going to catch up on some chats here. So Algonquin does not use appointments, but they have a drive up window for pickups. They have staff available to pull materials via phone or chat. ELA has a drive up window as well, so they don't use appointments. Huntley, they get only about 3 appointments a day, but they're open and patrons can come in. Cary, they only have curbside with no appointments. They're pulling books on demand, but that's subject to staff workflow at the time. At Round Lake, they use My Library, and we fill appointments based on what is available. So they have about 4 staff available to fill curbside bags. And Maggie is open for questions if anyone wants to know more information about the app. Ricardo's is curbside pickup as well, Monday through Thursday, 10 to 6, and Friday, Saturday, 9:30 to 4:30. Winnetka, they allow same day pickup, but they encourage appointments. And they also have plenty of appointments are the same day. They have parking lot curbside only as well. So they have 4 slots per 20 minutes for appointments. Crystal Lake is currently closed due to construction. They were doing curbside by appointment through a service called Sign Up Genius. I've not heard that one yet. Indian Trails has drive-up windows. They don't do curbside. They don't do appointments. Lincolnwood, curbside pickup Monday through Friday, 10 to 6, Sunday 1 through 5. Lincolnwood also does curbside all the times while we're open. They do allow same-day pickup as well as appointments. And Grace Lake, no appointments at Grace Lake, open 7 days a week for curbside pickup. They averaging about 80 a day. Patrons are very happy.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
I
what
have
is
a
everybody
question.
averaging roughly per day on curbside pickups?
Well, that's,
Look,
yeah, if it's
yeah,
in the
okay.
chat.
Sorry, Karen, were you going to ask something?
Oh, I was just curious about Huntley. They said that they're open. Do they do appointments, or is their library actually open? Just curious.
Hi, we are open our regular hours, so people can just come in whenever they want to.
And we've gotten some chats about the average amount of curbside pickups, appointments, or?
Yeah, pickups. I was asking for pickups.
Yes. So we've got ranges from like 30 to 40 a day for a couple libraries. Palatine has over 200 a day. They do accommodate no appointment patrons on demand. Wilmette has 163 appointments a day, averaging over 500 items a day checked out.
Wow. No wonder you're going crazy, Kim. There's a lot going on over there.
We will distribute the chat as well. It will be posted. So if anyone does want to kind of go through and take a look what libraries have said for these answers, it will be available.
Great. In that same vein, so Prospect Heights is under construction, and we will be installing a drive-up window sooner than later. But it's going to be right next to our book drop. So I have some concerns about this in terms of patrons getting frustrated that they're waiting, that they're actually in line. So I'm wondering, do any other libraries have a book drop and a drive-up window at exactly the same location? Or is it just going to be me?
We do in Algonquin. It's actually about 10 feet ahead, but just far enough that there's a problem. We get a traffic jam. What we've done is we've opened our front doors because we have 2 sets. So the second set's locked, the front door is open, so people can return oversized items, but our inductions are also in there as well. We have some angry people who get out of their car and scream at people for taking their time. But it's winter and the doors are open. We're not going to force anyone to get out of their car to return stuff. But it's, for the most part, people are getting savvy. They're pulling a little farther ahead. They know themselves that it's the problem. It doesn't happen very often, but it is jarring when people do get angry. But so what we did was just open those front doors, let people know, because they do care. They check out 50 books and they're like, we don't want to hold up the line. What do we do? So
Right.
That's what we're able to do and still keep people out of the building, but at least kind of alleviate that a little bit.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
We do.
Okay.
We have, we go to the back of the building now, and we have like a U-shaped drive. So they go to the first door and get the pickup. Our security staff also ask them if they have items they need to drop off, especially for our elderly or disabled. They can't really get out of the car, and they'll take the materials and put them in the book drops for them. But we have enough room between where they pick up to where they can drop their books off that they go ahead and they can do it. I've also seen them, if they've had a lot, they go and use our front book drop at the front of the building.
Okay.
So we haven't really had any issues with book drop issues.
Our problem is we've eliminated our front book drop. So we only have one book drop now. I'm a little worried about this.
Yeah.
One thing that I thought was, oh, go ahead.
ELA also only has the one book drop, and it is in the drive-through, and they are too close together.
They're
We've
too
known that
close.
for- They are, and we've known that for years. There's not much about it though. We widened the drive up lane, if you will.
Mhm.
People have enough room to get out of line. So they can get out of their car and drop books off if they need to, if they can't, or even if they have enough room to get in there, then they're stuck behind the person because they can't get out of line now.
Mhm.
So we widen that area so they can drive around the person that I'm dealing with to get through and around them.
Okay.
It's tight, but they do, it's workable.
Okay. Good to know. Were you going to say something, Kim? No? Okay. Okay, well, thank you, everybody.
Can I just ask, can I ask, Crystal Lake, when we open again, we're in the process of getting a drive-up book return and pickup, and they will be next to each other. And is this problem isolated to now because of COVID and because people can't come in the building, or is this like a long-term, this has been a problem?
For us, it's been long-term. That's why it was widened long before COVID.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
It's COVID for us. COVID for us in Algonquin. It is, our driveway isn't wide enough for people to go around, but a lot of people get out of their car because, you know, it just, they can't quite navigate the window in that. But no, for us, it's been COVID. I don't recall it ever happening before then.
Oh boy. Okay. The next item is staff is exhausted. What are you doing to keep their spirits up? That is so true. I'm exhausted. I took a week and a half off. That helped. Anybody have any suggestions? Anything that they're doing special at their library?
Been really special, bringing in a lot of chocolate candy.
There you go.
About all we
What are
can do.
There's another chat in here that also specifies candy. So
We're having harder time with food because it has to be individually wrapped and we're not necessarily encouraged to bring food into the building. So that's our hard part. I mean, we ended up decorating our parking lot pickup window so that people would, you know, it's got snowflakes over it. Someone took a bunch of coffee filters and tried to get creative to warm up the room and also block us from them seeing what we're doing behind the windows. Yeah, exhaustion. I mean, if your library is open, I mean, Gabby, I was at Evanston not that long ago and it's exhausting. And I don't know if we feel it just in circulation or if your other departments do. If you're not open, the main staff working in what I've seen in the two buildings is only circulation. And, oh, a food truck. I just saw that in the chat.
yeah, Palatine is planning a food truck in their parking lot for staff.
I'm taking a note of that. Thank you.
As management, you know, that has been something that I have been very concerned about. And the thing I can encourage you guys to do is talk with your assistant directors and directors in the fact that CERC is taking the brunt of the issues in COVID. They really are. And management needs to be aware that if they basically run CERC into the ground, they're going to be in a real hard place as they try to reopen. So I know that there is significant pressures from boards and communities and even some directors. Oh, we need to do operations as normal or as close to normal as possible. But this isn't normal. This is very far from normal. And personally, I'm beginning to fear that all the things we hope for 2021 aren't actually going to happen until 2022. And you need to be very up front with your managers and say, look, you're running the feed off of all of our people. And before too long, people are going to start quitting because they can't do it anymore. And maybe we need to put some restrictions on this. You know, with Zion, we're doing, you know, staff is in the building from, you know, maybe we're there from roughly 9 to 5. I start at like 8:30, but we're only doing pickups generally from 10 to 4. Give staff a little bit of time to get their stuff organized. We're not doing pickups on Monday, although I'm, you know, I'm leaving at the end of the month. So, you know, I've been thinking, you know, maybe we could pick up Monday afternoons or something like that. But it's giving staff some time to check up or, you know, get caught up and get reorganized and that kind of thing. So we're now we've moved out of, oh my gosh, this is a short-term emergency to this is more of a long haul thing. And if you want to have a staff left at the end of it, you need to start thinking about this and push back a little bit and say, we can't run 9 to 9, 7 days a week and have a staff left at the end of this. So.
Well, we had cut our hours back, you know, when we came back after our initial closure for COVID, and we've stuck with those restricted hours. I mean, the reduced hours. So we're open 10 to 6 Monday through Friday and 10 to 2 on Saturday. So it's fewer hours, and we're still working in teams at our library. So really no one is in the building their full, you know, nobody works their full schedule in the building. So I think in our case, that's sort of helpful because no one is there 5 days a week and going crazy. They're there 3 days a week going crazy. I don't know, Nancy, can you speak to that?
Yeah, I have to agree. Having the two teams, the team A and team B, because of COVID, we're completely separate. We're in constant contact with each other's teams via texting and FaceTime, all that kind of stuff. We've got great communication, but it is, even though my day is like 9 to 6, it's a long day. Getting there an hour before we open just to set the stage for the day. That's so important. I have an hour to get blue bins, you know, unpacked or get started and just running, printing notices or whatever I need to do. I have that hour before our first 10 o'clock pickup. And so that's great. And working those alternate days, even though, like I said, it's a 9-hour day, I got the next day to work from home, and there's something restorative about that. So we don't have that burnout situation at Prospect Heights. I think that team A and team B approach has really saved us from that experience of being burned out.
At Fox River Valley, kind of going back to what Kim was saying, we've also had some negative patron interactions, wondering why it's not going as fast. We only have the 3 staff working curbside, but to kind of help balance that out, no circulation staff member is working all of their shifts as a curbside staff because we have some that are 40 hours. I cannot imagine what that would do to your mental stability, having to just be on edge all the time. So we balance it out with staff having like shelving duties because we have 2 dedicated shelvers, and as everybody knows, our pick lists have just been through the roof, so they are definitely well utilized. Shelving, getting the pick list, just helping out checking in materials. It's still tough. We do still have people who have come and spoke to me and say like, this is hard, like especially during the time between like October where it was dead and people were saying there's nothing to do, and then it just ramped up to 100. It's like there's too much to do now. And I think it was kind of whiplash for folks. I kind of, to Molly's point too, I I want to be there for staff. I want to talk to staff. It's tough for me because right now I'm not in the building every day. The managers are doing it in shifts, so I'm only get to see my staff once a week. And a lot of them don't want to talk to me when I'm at home, so that makes it tough too. I'm still curious if folks have had success doing anything else like the teams. We hadn't tried out the teams, but it's been tough for folks. The lack of empathy from patrons has been both astounding and disappointing. And that's made it especially tough.
Those situations really, they just resonate with us so much because we're so used to everything kind of going along. And when you have that one bad experience, it really hangs on us. Here in Algonquin, we started slow and then have slowly got out of our teams. And then we went back to staff being in the building, our normal hours, except for Sunday, we're still closed. And then when we went back to the shutdown, we opened up our hours 9 to 9, Monday through Thursday at the drive up to kind of relieve some of that tension. We didn't have as much success with curbside. It was really difficult with the amount of staff we had in the building. And now in CERC, we have no more than 3 people because we've all tried to keep our social distance and still maintain the best service that we can give. And I think that part of the service model we've adjusted to. That back in March, we were trying so hard to do everything that we've been able to slowly evolve into this process. And it really goes back to administration. I agree 110%. If we didn't have their support and their ear, we would definitely be grinding. And we are doing it all in circulation here. It feels like when you see a librarian walk by, you're kind of like, oh my gosh, come on. We're like sweating our hair, So it is tough. We laugh a lot. But we just try to, build each other up and thankfully administration's really got our backs. So we're lucky in that. And the extended hours aren't bad. Our patrons, we have a couple hours during the day when it's so busy at the drive up, but otherwise it isn't, and we can always offer that, we're here till 9. If there's a line, come back. So I don't know. I'm not sure how we'll get through this. And I agree 2022, hopefully we'll be getting to the end of it. So we'll see.
Okay, I'm getting kind of depressed now.
I was just going to say, I don't know if Julie was going to say anything, but at Crystal Lake, when we were open, just one more comment on the teams. We were in teams, but our teams crossed all the departments, and it was kind of nice, you're right, to have that support from our director saying that, in your remote times, you can do your adult services work, your YS work, and sometimes you needed to in the building, but the emphasis was definitely on CERC because of the demands. And so I think that helped us a lot. And it also made us connect, I think, to other departments. And so, now we're closed, but I have to say that I think that team plan worked really well for Crystal Lake. I feel like it really almost made some of our relationships and cross-departmental stronger.
I would agree with that.
I'm here from Indian Trails. I just wanted to say that I have heard everyone that has spoken regarding exhaustion. I do have to comment that our group of 16, 17, 18, we are exhausted. We have been here since May 26th, open to members, all our hours. And then we closed again to the public, just like everyone else and whoever's in Region 10. So now we're just drive-up services, but it feels like everything just does land in circulation. Not only are we providing our normal pick list, rails bins, checking in, checking out members at the drive-up window. There's also a book drop at that window. There's a book drop at the front of our window on the west side. And now we give away launch pad kits, grab and go kits, all kinds of kits from all different areas of the library, but only circulation, who is all part-time, other than my new circulation assistant, Donna Ramirez, who is full-time like myself. We're all in the building, all the hours, because none of our jobs are able to be done at home. So we are tired, and it's starting to create somewhat of animosity that there are other staff members in the building who are at home working, while, like one young lady expressed, we are sweating, dripping in sweat, running at fire rapid speed all of the time. And it it is getting to be very concerning for me that should they stop dropping like flies, if circulation goes down, you're going to have to shut down the library because no one else knows how to do our job. No one else is interested in learning how to do what we do. We are the library right now. And without circulation, you have nothing. That's just the way I feel about it. I also would like to have more support from administration. I feel like when we have board meetings, I read the board reports, and I feel like programs that are being done virtually are acknowledged. Anything else that's done virtually is acknowledged. And I feel like circulation is barely even mentioned. Yet we are doing 100% of all of the work that is happening in the building. We have just recently started January 4th to reduce our hours Monday through Friday just by an hour. So now we close at 8 p.m. instead of 9. That's fine. But the staff are still running at breakneck speed from the minute they start until they leave. And they're tired. And when people are tired and burned out and start getting, why is that person still working from home? Why aren't they coming in and helping CERC? I've sent out numerous emails to all of the managers asking for support. And you send me 1 or 2 people one day and then nothing the rest of the week and nothing the next week. I'm not going to keep asking every week. My emails are clear. We need help all of the time. We can't do it by ourselves, and no help is forthcoming. People might start leaving. Someone else mentioned the same thing. People might start quitting. So it does become a little bit frustrating when you are the sole team that is literally keeping the library going and not a lot of support or thank yous coming from above. And I'm the manager of circulation, so it's a little bit frustrating. So I try to motivate my team. I'm here supporting my team. I have been asked to work at home. And I'm like, I'm not comfortable doing that. If they're gonna be in the trenches, I'm gonna be in the trenches. I'm gonna work alongside with them and I'm gonna sweat with them and do what they do to help them, because I'm not gonna watch them struggle while I'm sitting at home. That's not right, it's not fair, it shouldn't be done. So for me, I need to protect my staff. Without my staff, we need to shut down Indian Trails. That's just the way I am. I'm blunt, I'm transparent. I mean, the struggle is real in circulation. So protect your staff, thank them, support them on a regular basis, praise them for all the hard work that they're doing, because they deserve it. They're the ones that are keeping these libraries running for everyone else. That's really all I had to say.
And Carrie, we're a very different library, so I know we work a little different. We don't really even have a circulation department. We have a public services department. And so everyone is pitching in, even, you know, the librarians or whatever. So anything that you might consider, whether or not it's a reference department or the selectors, they're all putting in their time in that drive up. They're all putting in their time answering phones. So we are all working together, and that has been good. And I am here every day to make sure that everybody's doing okay. So I'm just wondering if other libraries are thinking about doing this. Because we do. So if you're at the service desk, it's not the circulation desk. We are all placing holds. We are all doing, you know, reference work. We're all doing it. So, and the reference that used to be, they're all doing circ, and most of them are embracing it. And so we do have that spirit of unity going in our library, and I am extremely grateful for that now, because I think it would be very divisive if we were in the same pattern that we were before, when everyone was just divided into their own. And yes, somebody's just having a good time being at home, like I did for a little while in the summer. It was lovely. So it's something to consider if it's at all possible, that cross some training, and so everybody does a little bit of everything. That's it.
And when we came back into the building, in May or whatever it was. And we were starting to think about doing this. And the phones, which originally were ringing in CERC, and then CERC was sending everything out. Phones now ring at the reference desks and their first line. For same day pickups, the reference staff are going and pulling the books off the shelf, making sure that they're there and telling the patron, okay, they're here, you can pick them up in 2 hours. And then they're bringing them to the CERC staff to then finish the process. So this is a whole library issue. And luckily most of our departments have stepped up and are doing their things. You can't silo. Silo is death. You need to push because siloing is death. If it doesn't kill you now, it will kill you later. So
just gonna sorry, Miko. I'll say, I would echo what Molly said earlier about making sure that you're talking to your administration. I mean, at CCS, we can see all the work that you're doing. I see your pick list sizes. We can see just the sheer number of holds that are being placed and trapped for your patrons. You're doing a lot of work, and it is more work than you did pre-COVID when it comes to the pick list and comes to hold. So I would encourage you to talk to your administration about these concerns and just the fatigue that your department is experiencing. And there's some really good suggestions coming in from the chat, and I think Mako's going to read them. So we will, again, compile all of the different things that libraries are doing for you and send them out. And those might be suggestions that you could share, different options that you can share with your directors if you're not already, doing some of these things that have been really effective at some of the other CCS libraries.
Yeah, I'll just kind of go through some of the chats that have come through. So Evanston also mentioned that they're doing teams. Their pick list is at or over 1,000 items, and their book bins get full very quickly. So they divide the work into 2 teams and doing the best they can. Prairie Trails reference picks up a lot of calls. Let's see, Northbrook. Other departments are shelving their own materials and pulling items from the pick list to help take pressure off of the CERC department so they can focus on curbside. And Winnetka, too, all departments are involved with curbside. And the CERC assistants are scheduled as shelvers for some shifts to give them a break. So it sounds like a number of libraries are doing kind of the teams methods. A lot of libraries have departments cross-trained, like Molly mentioned, so that departments are not siloed.
Okay, I think we should move on, unfortunately. I think I saw Dana return to the meeting. I know you had to sneak out and you're back, Dana. Do you want to go ahead with your item?
Oh yeah, I'm back.
Great.
I missed all the fun.
Well,
I'll watch it in the recording.
Yeah, you can read it. Read about it later.
Yeah. Basically, I think this went around in the CERC listserv, but pandemic, how many emails are we getting a day? So we recently got rid of expiration dates, but we haven't kind of announced it to our public or even some of our library yet. But I was wondering, other libraries that have gotten rid of expiration dates, like how you keep track of people's, not their addresses, but their contact information to keep it up to date. Because right now we have it so the address check, is still in play every 3 years, but it's kind of, I think even our staff and throughout the library, because of all the new information being like bombarded every week because of the pandemic, it's hard to keep track of everything. So when something says address check and it's just, like a contact information, like update, it's hard to say, oh, you don't have to like grab the license and check it and everything, just check their email and their phone number. I was wondering if anyone else, if I'm making sense at all, first of all, and then if anyone has a better way to keep up to date with people's contact information to keep it current.
We don't really have an organized, reports or approach to that, just sort of case by case. And sometimes I do see some cards in there that they have to be inactive, people, especially I look at like in apartment buildings, and I see two people like with the same address. And I know one of them, they must have moved on. And I've always wondered, how could we remove that one card? But there's privacy. You can't ask people who lives in the apartment with you. But I know that one card has got to be inactive. So we just do it on a case by case.
Do you ever run into a problem?
We'll just review, all their contact information, because we also don't have an expiration date.
Do you ever run into a problem where you need to contact the patron because, oh, maybe they have a missing piece, but then because basically like maybe their phone number is changed in their email, so you can't get a hold of them? Does that happen a lot?
It doesn't happen a lot. Then we'll just try an email or try the phone. It really does not, I haven't run into that as a problem. Like with telephones, the phone, a lot of people, their home phone now is the number that they have on the account, but they no longer have a home phone. So we do run into that quite often, and we follow up with an email to then, update all their information.
Thank you.
Algonquin had a suggestion. So when the patron uses the photo ID or app, and I'm assuming that's like just when they're doing like a regular checkout, they then verify the phone number too.
Yeah, we do that when people show their ID instead of using the card number, or when they show their app on their phone, we verify their phone number. We catch a few, but it's really the easiest way for us. We've never had expiration dates. So it's helpful. We catch a few people every now and then.
Good idea.
That is a good idea.
Okay. Ginny, is Ginny here? Ginny, there you are. Ginny, you want to take the next one?
Yeah, thanks. Since Grays Lake is fairly new to CCS, we're wondering what reports you guys look at on a daily basis, and specifically, we've been looking like at the long in transit report, or on the hold shelf too long. We've had patrons say, hey, this item's been in transit, says it's been shipped for 2 weeks. When are we getting it? So we're just not sure on your normal procedures for handling those reports.
We look at the daily notice delivery report to confirm that our patrons receive their notifications quite regularly, which means that you see the emails, the mails, any bounced phone messages.
Oh, Kim.
I know there's been times that.
I'm sorry.
Maybe Mieko or Deborah know it off the top of their head, but I think it's daily delivery notices. It tells you if the system forgot to renew items for patrons. And I know that we've caught it a couple times over the past couple of years. Mieko, I hear.
Yeah, so it's this is one of Bob's web reports. It's the daily notice delivery report. And it basically summarizes how many notices were issued. So how many notices were sent from our servers, broken down by notice category and type. So it will tell you like, there were 10 overdue notices sent via email for this day.
Does it give you the specific patron names then?
No, it's just a summary.
Okay.
So Kim, how do you use that then? It just gives you the numbers, so.
I use it because I've found in the past that there's been notices that never got delivered or renewals after 3 patrons have told me I never got a notice delivery.
And there's one thing to note also with that notice is that or that report, it indicates if notices have successfully left our database, it does not indicate whether a patron has successfully like received that notice. So like the patron's email server may still have rejected the notice, but the report will tell you that yes, it was sent from our servers, or at least, you know, this number was sent from our servers.
Yeah.
Do you recall a long time ago how we had all of a sudden the system didn't do the auto renews on a couple of days because something went wrong with Innovative on one event? It'll usually have like a big old goose egg on a day that, hey, why didn't any of the auto renews go through?
Yeah, so and again, the report will tell you, the report doesn't tell you if items auto renewed or not. It just indicates if the auto renew emails were sent.
Yeah. Sorry,
That's okay.
I just look at that report because when I see those numbers, I just want to make sure. I also like to see how many notices went out to patrons, especially that Monday after the holiday this week when 1,200 notices went out. I was like, okay, we were busy.
Okay.
I also look on this is Tori at Lake Forest. I look at the production server in the notice area. It will show telephone, email, and text messages that did not clear.
Oh. Could say
wait,
that again?
Production server in the email.
The Polaris ILS.
Okay.
Okay.
When you go into that, there's a spot where you can pull up the notices. And in there, there's a section that says text messages failed, telephone messages failed, email messages failed. I tend to get phone ones that don't go through. Where it'll show it shows the patron's name and their card number. And if somebody's having problems getting phone messages, I can call them and say, you've got materials here in case you didn't get the message. Oh. I also go into Polaris and look under the patron's notices section to see, because sometimes the phone will say it failed, but then I see it made it through later.
Okay.
But I have found that very helpful. It gives you some idea of how much stuff is or isn't getting through, or if a patron's consistently having problems. I've gotten some of them to change their notification. I'm like, your phone is never available. Why don't you try email? Right. Or a text and see if you prefer that. We can always change it back to phone. But yeah, we've had a couple of patrons who, I think because it's a business phone, it rarely gets through. So that solved his problem. But that to me was the fastest way to determine whether or not things are getting through.
And Tori, where did you find that report?
It's let me quick it's the Polaris ILS. You open that. And then when you go in, I think it's in utilities.
Okay, yeah.
And it says reports and notices. If you click on that, reports and notices, when you go in, you'll see a whole slew, and there's a little folder that says notices. And when you open that, down at the bottom, text delivery failure report, telephone summary, telephone delivery failure report. And if you open that, you can even, I think, put the date that you specifically want to look at.
Okay, we'll look for that one.
Hey, Mieko, as notices and stuff are coming back or are coming into LEAP, is this stuff going to come into LEAP as well? Or is that stuff only going to be available through the client?
Yeah, so the error reports are only going to be available through the client at this point. Right now, it's just going to be generating notices that will be available in LEAP.
Okay.
Another thing too that I just want to mention about those failed email and text reports that are available in the staff client. So what Polaris considers a failed email, text, or phone, it's at least so let me back up here. In terms of the emails and the texts, they consider it a failed email or text if the notice was not able to leave our server. So that report will, again, it won't tell you if something on the patron's end rejected that notice. It just tells you if there was an error on the Polaris end. And, so Nina, I don't think it's too unusual for your reports to be empty, because what would cause an error, say for example, for an email, is if it is like improperly formatted. So if staff leave out that @ symbol and it's just like gmail.com, right? So, it's going to be things that staff can usually very easily catch before it goes, when they're creating a patron record. When Tora mentioned that she's noticed that patrons have received a notification, even though they appear on that error report, Polaris will attempt to issue the notice 3 times. So if the patron erred out, maybe there was an error like the first time it tried issuing the notice, but the second time the notice was able to successfully get out. That can very commonly happen. And if the notice errors out all 3 times, it will revert to a print notice. So there are fallbacks too.
Okay, so back to my original question though, for like long in transit items, what do you guys do?
I generally, if I see something that's been in transit to Lake Forest and hasn't arrived and it's on that report, it hasn't arrived for a while. So I go double check the shelf to be absolutely certain we didn't miss check-in. And then I check it out to missing. And invariably they show up.
Yeah.
Sometimes they've gone to Lake Villa instead of LFK, or it got bounced around somehow, or who knows, somebody's reading it on the van and then they drop it in the bin when they're done. But usually if it's been that long, unless it's like one time I had a huge amount on there and I thought an entire bin went somewhere else. So I didn't do anything. But if it's on the list more than once, especially, I check the shelf. If it's not there, it goes to missing. I think some people had an in transit kind of missing, that they put things on so they could track them later.
Right.
But
so
that's what I do.
Do you have a card account, Tori, then that's a missing card account?
No, we go in and change the record on the account to missing. So it doesn't show up in the pack and nobody will continue to place holds. And it will generate then for anyone who might have a hold on it, it'll generate the notice saying we can't fill this hold so that you can repair it.
So where do you mark it as missing then?
I do it in the details on the item itself. In the record of the item.
So, but you can do that without checking it in? You can't, right? Can't you only change that?
Yeah, I check it in and mark it as
Oh, you
missing.
check it in. Oh, I see. Okay.
If I can't find it, I
How
have
do you
to put
keep
it to
track of
missing.
those then?
Yeah.
Well, we get the missing reports and we go over those reports.
Okay, well, we mark stuff that we can't find on our shelves as missing. So it would be like,
Yeah, it ends up in that report for us. That's why I'm saying some people check it out to a specific card so they can keep track.
Yeah, we have a missing account that we check it out to.
Yeah, so I'm just saying that we move the item on even if we can't find it so that it doesn't stay on the list indefinitely. Some people use a card, we just put it to missing. We're a smaller library, it's fairly easy for me to keep track of it.
Yeah, and I will
Under
say-
normal circumstances, there isn't that much on there, so it's usually pretty easy to keep track of it.
I will say the benefit to changing the status to missing is that it won't appear in the catalog to patrons as like checked out or potentially available. So if you check an item out to a missing card, it will still show up in the catalog just as checked out. The patron does not have a way to know this is checked out to a missing account. So the benefit of changing the circulation status in the item record would be that it displays to both staff as missing, and then will be then suppressed from the catalog as well.
And that's why we do it, so people don't keep trying to hope that they're going to get it because we don't know when we're going to find it.
Any possibility of adding more those that manage item record, any more of those types? So it wouldn't just say missing, it could say,
I wish. This is my life dream to have more circulation statuses. I've been harping on innovative on this since we went live, but at this time, no, we're stuck with the circulation statuses that we do have.
Yeah. So somehow you'd still have to keep, if you're a larger library that you would have to try to, keep some kind of track of those ones that are actually missing in transit, rather than the things that you just can't find on your shelf when you're doing like your pick list or something, or if a patron calls.
Could you add a shelf location of missing in transit and then dictate it missing?
You could, that is an option. It might, you'd have
Be
to
confusing.
kind of develop some internal
Yeah.
workflows. Not all circ staff have the ability to change a shelf location, but that is something, if you would like to add that to your workflow, we could work with you. That's easy to add a shelf location.
Also, you can keep the in-transit report with the item that's marked on there. I usually hold on to some of those reports with things that are missing so I can quick double check if I want somebody to run check them. But that's keeping extra paperwork, but you can keep the report until you find the material.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does anyone contact the library that sent it to see if it accidentally got on their shelf?
I will once in a while if it's really,
I've had libraries call me and ask me to double check.
Okay. Okay, good. That's what we've been doing. And we just wasn't sure. That's how we should do it.
And Jenny, for us, especially now that we still have a smaller quarantine period, at least, I know the report runs at the beginning of the week, but I've been checking it at the end because I find that over half of those items that were missing at the beginning of the week are in transit. So you could save yourself a little headache just by like, I'll check it on Thursday.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Thanks, Gary. All right, well, thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Jenny. All right, and back to Kim. What, you're muted, Kim.
Yep, I just saw that. So I think we could be one of the last libraries that are going to open holds, and I can't recall because it didn't apply at the time. Do y'all put your games out in your open hold section when you are open, or do you keep them behind your circulation desk? I just forget what the process was because we didn't have games at Evanston when I was there, and Wilmette now has games, and there is no limit to how many games a patron can check out. I see some in the chat.
Put the games in, and we do have the open holds, and we put the games in the cases. We found that was easier because some of our patrons do use self-check. So if there are items, they would check them out and not get the games and go home. And so we just decided with all the games, it was just easier. We haven't had a problem or an issue with it. But yeah, we do.
Okay, thanks, Lynn.
Just kind of going, oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to go through some chats. So Prospect Heights does put games in the open hold section, but they are locked. Carrie does not. Indian Trails games are in the holds area, but are locked. ELA puts out empty cases. They don't include the game discs or cartridges. Huntley, they keep them behind the desk and put a dummy case in the hold shelf. All games must be checked out at the circ desk. Let's see, at Zion, games are held behind the desk, and let's see, no games. Displays keeps most games behind the front desk. If a game came from another library, it does go onto the hold section, so they haven't had a problem yet.
And we only do it for like current gen games, like a Wii game's just gonna sit on the shelf. If that gets stolen, it's 15 years old at this point. But all the new stuff is behind the desk for us.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and the last item today. Oh, somebody, oh, I don't know. How can
it was me? I have the last item.
It's you too, Kim. You have that one too. Great.
Yes, I got, being at a new library, we're on a Zoom meeting or Teams quite regularly. How are you keeping things fun and lively in your meetings with your staff, since you can't necessarily have meetings with them in person as much? Don't all speak at once. Just kidding. No.
It's not appropriate, but at Lake Forest, the CERC department does have one great big giant text group. So birthdays and holidays, one of the ladies her kids one of them got engaged, and messages are sent, funny gifts are sent, family photos. So we're kind of keeping, like, since we can't chat behind the desk, let's chat online. So we kind of got a running thing, and it does kind of help to boost people's spirits when they hear some good news about one of the staff members, because they're also used to gabbing and giving each other advice and things. So we kind of do that to keep in touch in a more informal way. And it makes things feel more normal because we're having regular conversations. If they've got work things, I might go, hey, check your email, your work email, or, but other than that, it is a nice way to kind of keep it friendly, fun. We send each other silly pictures of us at work. This could be you, so that's how we're doing it. We don't have very many people in the building, and when you're here, you're busy, so it's hard. Wearing fun stuff when we can, trying to be lighthearted. But yeah, I do find the sort of being able to chit chat again the way we used to at work is helpful. It keeps everybody connected to what's going on in their lives.
Thanks,
Kim, this is Lori from Displays. How you doing? So one of the things that I do, so normally when I have a clerk meeting, I bring snacks. Every meeting, different types of things. And I decided what I'm going to do for the next meeting is have goodie bags here so that people can take them home, and we can all, while we're having our meetings, still have snacks, but everyone would be in their own location doing it. Because everybody can be unmasked when they do these meetings too. So that was one of the things that I think I'm going to do next meeting, just so we can do something a little different. And occasionally I throw in like a raffle of a Starbucks gift card or, something like that too.
Thanks, Lori.
And at Prospect Heights, we too keep it really close. I haven't seen some of my coworkers since last March, but in many ways, I feel like, we're still very connected because we text each other with questions like, oh, yesterday you left this, what do I do with that? Or like you said, personal things. And we've just remained really close as coworkers through phone calls and texting. It's great.
Tori's got it going on over there with a tiara and her little thing in her hand.
Yes, I have sent music videos to the staff, poor things.
Well, I haven't gone that far, but I think then they'll unsubscribe from me. Anyone else?
Can I just ask one more question? Sorry, I know I should have put it on the table, but the parking lot, but I have a question. Are you all allowing RBPs that have expired or have not registered with CCS to create or be put into the system?
We have just been talking about that because we're starting to get more requests. If we can get through to the home library and confirm their information, we're giving them a shorter expiration period so that you have to check in sooner with us. But we've let a few come in. Some people I write back and tell them I need their card number. And if they don't respond back, then I don't put them in. But yeah, we do it we're probably going to do it if we can get through to the home libraries and confirm them. Some libraries aren't answering, so we can't.
Hey, Kim, this is Jeff at Morton Grove. We're kind of, hey, what's going on? We're kind of lucky in that most of the reciprocal library cards we receive are from Chicago and Skokie. And luckily they have online portals that you can check the information with. So it's really super easy for us to do it. And kind of like Tori said, as long as we can get a hold of the home library, we're willing to do it and to verify them.
It's the same at Prospect Heights.
There's just a couple chats here with some responses. So ELA is adding new RBPs. Lake Villa is not. Grays Lake is not, but they will renew if they can verify with the home library. Indian Trails is not. And Cary, they're only allowing Cary and Crystal Lake patrons to pick up at their location during the shutdown.
At Des Plaines too, we're allowing, and sometimes, you know, because of the weird hours and because of everyone's circ department being so busy, if we can't get a hold of the home library, we'll still issue the card and then, you know, check up later. And if it turns out that they're not in good standing, we'll, you know, put a block on the account and contact the patron.
Okay, thank you. Sorry to not add that to the parking lot or agenda. My apologies.
We will make a note of that, Kim, for next time. Okay, well, we went through a lot of stuff for what was going to be a quick meeting. We had a lot of information today. So if everyone is ready to adjourn, I don't know, do we need a motion for that? I can never remember.
I think we usually have a motion, right?
Okay, who would like
A
to?
motion
Okay,
or second, whatever you need.
Tori and who else?
I did. I will.
Okay, Tori and Paula. Okay, great. All right, well, we'll see you guys. Thanks so much. Hang in there.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, stopping the recording.